Now, here's an idea. You know how really fine wines are made? Well, it's like this. You take deliciously ripe grapes from grape vineyards and you ferment and age them in oak barrels, preferably brand new ones. It's the basics behind great vanilla scented reds such as Top Bordeaux and wonderful toasty whites such as Grand Cru Burgundy. But until a man called Sacha Lechine arrived in the cradle of pale rosé making that is Côte de Provence, no one had taken this approach to something pink. Hello, I'm Patrick Schmitt, a master of wine and editor-in-chief at The Drinks Business, and I'm here to tell you the story of Garrus, which is the world's first 100-pound age-worthy rosé, a pink wine that's fermented and aged in new French oak barrels. This account is the last in a series of videos on the rosés from Sacha Lechine, starting with a potted history that charted his arrival in Provence with the purchase of the great Château d'Esclans and the creation of a global pink wine empire. This was followed by a taste of his best-selling rosé brand, Whispering Angel, and then a look at the great Provençal pinks in his range, from Rock Angel to L'Eclan. Now we're finishing the series with a look at his top pink product, Garrus, and for this, we are doing something never done before on film, which is testing one aspect to Sacha's fine rosé proposition. Can it be aged, and does it get better with time? You see, Garrus, made like a great white or red wine, is designed to be cellared, and by that I mean it is a wine that should, over time spent in a cool environment, take on greater complexity and become more interesting to drink. Take a fine white Burgundy such as Meursault. It starts out tasting fresh lemons, maybe white flowers, and a touch of toast. But after a few years takes on soft interlaced characters of honey, beeswax, and roasted hazelnuts. So how will a great rosé develop with time? To start, let's look at the young Garrus, a wine that's just been released, but due to the barrel aging process, comes from the 2018 vintage, not last year's harvest, like most of the rosés on the shelves right now. It's a powerful wine, hailing from an 80-year-old hillside vineyard planted with Grenache, which, incidentally, is the grape that dominates famous reds such as Châteauneuf-du-Pape or Priorat in Spain. Here at Desclans, these old vines produce wonderfully ripe fruit under the Mediterranean sun, but not too ripe or jammy due to the sea breezes and cool nights at this high point on the estate, which, I should add, is a hill that was named by the Romans Garrus, which is Latin for bear, and it's this site that gives its name to the wine. Now, you might notice its colour. It's barely pink, and that's because the skins of the red grapes, where the pigments are found, only briefly come into contact with the juice of the berries, which is drawn off into temperature-controlled barrels where it ferments slowly. It should also be noted that added to the Grenache, like salt to a dish, is a tiny touch of a white grape called Roll. This grapefruit-scented variety brings extra flavour and freshness, along with stability to the resulting wine. So let's smell it. This might sound strange, but forget for a minute this is a rosé, and imagine you have just opened a bottle of fine white Burgundy. I say that because the aromatics might be a shock to the pink wine quaffer, but not the great Chardonnay lover, as their aromas of vanilla and toast. Now let's drink it. You should experience the Moorish flavours of great Provençal rosé, from peach to red berries, white cherries and orange blossom, along with a mouth-watering, soft, gently citric freshness. But there's something else. There are creamy vanilla characters from fine French oak, giving it almost a touch of sweetness, even though the wine is bone dry. Indeed, it's this combination of being full-flavoured, but also fine and refreshing, that makes this wine so wonderful, and also, in my view, the world's most versatile dry rosé. Now, that's the 2018. What about if we go back a year to 2017? Bearing in mind the majority of rosés you'll be buying today should be from the most recent harvest, we are looking at something that's already pretty mature by pink wine standards. But the fruit is still fresh and the nose still smoky and pleasantly toasty. There is a difference, however, to the younger Garrus. This one seems, well, a touch more harmonious, as though the flavours of peach and orange zest to vanilla cream and nuts have become connected, only revealing themselves as the wine slowly fades after swallowing. Now, let's go back another year. This time, with the 2016, I find the aromatics more open, more fruity and less toasty, although the influence of oak is still evident. In the mouth, it's fresh nectarines and white flesh peach, and it seems a touch oilier, although the wine still finishes with a delicious soft citrus lift and a saltiness, along with roasted nutty notes like great long lees aged champagne. Finally, we have a sample from 2015. The oak influence seems to have faded now into a creamy background, not an overt toasty hit, although the fresh fruit flavours of peach are still there. The wine remains lively, with red berry fruit, poached pear and a salty citrus finish. It's delicious, with a touch of beeswax and dry Brazil nut on the finish. It's still fresh, but the component characters seem better integrated than the more youthful release, as though the flavours have bonded with time. In short, these older wines seem a touch more settled. Importantly, this is a 5-year-old rosé that's still vibrant. There's no hint of the oxidative bitter flavours of bruised apple that can affect any white or pink wine that hasn't been built to last. Even the colour has remained the same, not faded into a burnt orange like some old rosés. So there's the proof. Garrus is a rosé that doesn't have to be drunk within months of bottling, and, like a fine wine, it can improve with age. But while it may be serious rosé, remember this: with Garrus, now there's some fun in fine wine. Santé.